Anything Wall Street wants to sell me, I don't want to buy. Yeah. Anything that Wall Street does, it's not for my benefit, it's for their benefit. So when the institutions and Wall Street say, this is excellent, we're going big time for it, I want to run away. Everybody's going to be rushing to buy gold because we would be on the edge of World War III.
What about all those people becoming millionaires overnight? They used leverage, was their argument, right?
6 weeks later, they become zero overnight. Up like a rocket, down like a rock.
Clem Chambers is back. He's a founder of ANewFN, and let's get his take on markets. Clem, welcome back. Let's jump straight into Bitcoin and gold. Bitcoin having run up tremendously in 2024, hit 100K. Now it's still 100K. Basically, it's been flat on the year if you discount its ups and downs. So that is surprising, given that Bitcoin has usually outperformed stocks in a bull market. The S&P and the NASDAQ are both up, but the S&P is something like 23%, 25 now on Tuesday, the 11th of November. Gold is up to above $4,100 an ounce again today. I know you dabble in both markets. I know you touch on cryptos and you trade other cryptos besides Bitcoin, which we'll talk about. But if you had to choose between one of the two right now, Bitcoin or gold, what are you buying?
Well, dabble? How dare you? Dabble? Anyway, you know what?
You've heavily invested. Right.
I came on this show a year ago and I said 100,000, I'm out. It's 20,000 upside. There's 50, 60,000 downside. I don't want to be sat around scratching various parts of my anatomy, waiting for something big to happen because it's, I bought a 20,000, it's 100,000, 5x. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you for the fish. And here we are a year later at 100,000. And that was kind of what I was feeling, although I would have thought it would have come down well before it's now. So on the long side, I no, absolutely no. And for the last year, no. And I've taken a lot of jip from people saying, oh, enjoy being poor and all that. Well, that was a long time ago when I enjoyed being poor. But I don't see the upside in Bitcoin. I don't see the upside in crypto, not this cycle. Okay. Gold, on the other hand, has repriced and it's hit a level which is either the whole way or half the way. So if it goes up from here, if it breaks out, it will go another couple of $1,000 or at least to 5,000. And if what I expect could happen, I'm not saying it's going to happen, it could go to 8. So, that is the upside I look at with gold. So I'm sat here, like most gold people are, going, have you seen it? Is this it? Is it over? Do I need to sell now? Oh, no. Oh, no. And of course, it's doing what happens when it reprices. It's going sideways. It's doing that. So the question is it going to go or is it going to go?
Let me just make an argument just to play the other side and make you think about this. So you're saying gold's got more upside. Fine. You've been invested in gold for quite some time, as you have been with Bitcoin. You took profits on 100K. That turned out to be actually the right call because it would have been flat on the year, unless you timed it perfectly at the top, which very few people, if ever, do.
Very difficult to actually get the actual spot. But the level you sound not so difficult.
You sound greedy now is the argument, waiting for gold to go to 8K or 7K or 5K, whatever the number is, because it's already run up so much. That would be somebody saying to you, why don't you just take profits like you did with Bitcoin at 100K?
It's not a bad way to go. And if I suddenly thought, well, actually, what am I doing? What am I sat here for? I would flip into platinum or palladium because they've got really big upside. But gold is for war. And this conflict between China and America is not going to go away. You saw Trump go over and try to bully China into, concessions. And what did he get? Very little, right? So they are now, China and America is literally toe to toe, head to head. Well, 2027 is when they've indicated that they're going to go and invade Taiwan. And that's your homeland, isn't it, David? And,
sure.
That is a big deal. Well, what would gold be if there was an embargo by China of Taiwan? You tell me that. 8,000?
Wait, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. If there was a major war breaking out in the Southeast Asian Pacific region, what relevance does that have on the gold market?
Well, gold is for war. Gold is for war. Gold is the currency of war.
Yeah, but I'm trying to understand the logic here. So let's say I'm a Taiwanese. So let's say I'm a Taiwanese citizen or an American citizen or somebody living in Shanghai, and there's a war breaking out. Why would I rush to buy gold? Help us understand that.
Well, Japan is going to be rushing to buy gold. India's going to be rushing to buy gold. Thailand's going to be rushing to buy gold. Vietnam's going to be rushing to buy gold. Everybody's going to be rushing to buy gold because we would be on the edge of World War III. And in war, the only governmental currency is gold. You can't pay with your bonds. You can't pay with your paper. Your confetti isn't worth anything in a war, particularly if it's not going well for you. The only currency, the reserve currency in war is gold. That's why governments keep it in warehouses. There's no other use for them doing that. And they
Oh,
do
I see
it
what you
because
mean.
it's strategic currency for war. So if you had, say, an embargo on Taiwan that China was doing, and America was getting very upset, everyone would be going, "Oh my God, my real bonds are worthless now. My euro is not worth so much anymore. My pounds, oh, I need more gold." All the countries buy the gold. Forget the private investor. Forget the institutions. Gold is where it is right now because countries are buying it because the increase in global stress means they have to have more strategic reserve of the only currency that is a currency during a really bad war, and that's gold. And that's why they're buying it. That's why China's buying it. They're not buying it to make earrings.
If you were in a war, wouldn't you want to liquidate your assets and get US dollars? Wouldn't
Well,
that, wouldn't,
countries, it's countries. Countries have got to buy stuff. If
sure.
they want to buy tungsten from Portugal, what they're going to pay in? All of a sudden their paper isn't looking so good, is it? Doesn't even matter if you're America. Maybe you can get away with it if you're America, but what about if you're, India or you're United Arab Emirates? And you all of a sudden you want to buy tungsten to make a few armor-piercing shells. They're going to say, "Oh, hello there. Yeah, thank you very much. Pay in gold, please."
You know, you were more bullish on Bitcoin and cryptos a few years ago, right before 2025. What shifted? Was it just the valuations? Well, I don't know if you can have to sign a valuation, but
Well,
the
yeah,
price?
the valuation is an issue, right? Because assets get heavy, and the heavier they get, the harder it is to move. If you 10x Bitcoin now, it'd be worth 30 trillion, which is like half of the dollars in circulation. Yeah, or it's a massive amount. So to 10x a $3 trillion asset is very, very difficult. To 10x a $300 billion asset, that's doable. To 10x a 30 billion asset, that's not so difficult at all. To 10x a $300 million asset, which it was not that long ago, pretty easy, right? But what actually there's two things that put me off. Crypto is very insecure. Yeah. If you click on the wrong link on the interwebs, your crypto's gone. Oh, you need a cold wallet. No such thing. You put it with an exchange online, not your keys, not your crypto. I've got $100 million of Bitcoin in FTX. No, you haven't. So it's very hard to hold it and keep it because there's all these hacks going on all the time. Every week you'll hear about hacks going on. That's rule one. That's the thing that's really kind of put me off. But the second thing is Bitcoin, crypto is meant to be the anti-money. It's meant to be bringing down the dollar. It's meant to be the future of finance. It's meant to be outside the system. It's meant to be non-correlated. It's no longer any of those things. It's actually part of the financial system now. It is controlled by the institutions, by Wall Street. And I don't know about you, but anything Wall Street wants to sell me, I don't want to buy. Yeah. Anything that Wall Street does, it's not for my benefit, it's for their benefit. So when the institutions and Wall Street say, "This is excellent, we're going big time for it," I want to run away.
Before we continue with the video, let's talk about our sponsor today, Odoo. Odoo is an all-in-one business management platform trusted by over 15 million users. But today, I want to highlight their website builder. It lets anyone, even without coding skills, create a professional-looking website, just drag and drop blocks, customize layouts, add animations, and launch. You can build anything from a personal blog to a full e-commerce site with secure checkout and payment integrations. It's also fully integrated with other Odoo apps, so your website connects directly to your sales, inventory, and customer data. That means less manual work and more time focused on growth. And like always with Odoo, your first app is free for life, including unlimited hosting and support and a custom domain name for 1 year. To start building your site with Odoo today, check out the link in the description down below to try Odoo and simplify your business operations. Well, then you might be upset at this particular headline because apparently JP Morgan is very bullish on gold. just to riff off what you were saying, they're making a $5,000 price target. Hey, by 2026, nobody knows, right? We're just making predictions here. But the banks are very bullish on the precious metals right now, especially
That's
gold.
a reason to be bearish. That
does
is
that make you
absolutely a reason to be bearish.
Oh, come on,
I,
Clem.
you've got to say this is bullish, that's bullish, that's bullish, that's bearish, that's bearish, that's bearish. You've got to weigh the two up. And yeah, when the banks come out and say, "Oh, we're very bullish," well, that means they're long, doesn't it?
Well, that, or they want to offload
Oh
to
yeah,
some
oh they want
seller.
to use you as exit liquidity, but at the end of the day, who's the customer here? The customer here is not the punter. For the last 20 years, the punter has been pulled left and right and up and down by Wall Street, and that's what Wall Street does. It takes your money and it buys big houses in the Hamptons. That's what they do. They don't give it back to the market. They buy yachts with it, right? That's what Wall Street does. So yeah, if they want to sell it to you, you don't want to buy it. So yeah, that is bearish, but the customer is not the punter. It's the governments, and that's why they had to get out of the way. You cannot manipulate a market when the government is buying. You have to just step aside and let them run the price, and they're running the price, and the
Clem,
price is run.
is there a war though right now? I mean, let me back up. There are multiple wars going on in the world in multiple theaters. But is there a big global conflict, or is there just more uncertainty or chaos that would be driving the gold price up? If your thesis is that gold is for war,
Look, my people I'm aware of in government that I know, they think the war has begun already. They think World War III is underway. Right? They believe that it's not going to start. It started, but they believe it's a Cold War. Yeah, and they believe that World War III, the Cold War, has begun. And if you look at what the American government did in January, they came over to Europe and they said, "Putin, your problem. We've got problems in Asia. Sort that one out." You can go listen to the speech made by your Secretary of, was it Defense once upon a time? Oh, yeah, the Secretary of Oh, he's now the Secretary of War, isn't he? Oh,
yeah,
what happened there then? Why did they change the label on the tin?
they're
Yeah,
probably saving money because they're printing fewer letters. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
that's right.
I
That's
don't
right.
I
Don't
don't know.
worry. When they
It's part
when
of
they
it's
print
part of the
defense,
Department
it's
of
always in
Government.
gold.
Yeah, it's part of the Doge initiative. Okay, fine. So there's a Cold War. Expand on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that is going on right now, and it will be fought at the level of AI, right? Oh, Donald Trump's going to spend hundreds of billions. He's going to lend it to people to build nuclear power. Why? Well, because you need the electricity to drive AI. Why drive AI? Well, if you're not as smart as the opposition, you're going to lose, aren't you? Oh, okay. So how much AI do you need? Well, all the AI you can get, more than them. Ah, and how are you going to do that? Well, you need lots of energy, don't you? Where am I going to get that from? I haven't got enough of that. Well, you're going to have to build nuclear power stations, aren't you? You're going to have to start digging up coal, aren't you? You're going to have to start going hell for leather for using energy. You've got to forget all the environmental stuff. Oh, guess what's happening right now? That's what it is. It's in the headlines. You know, 18 months ago, if you'd said, "Oh, blah, 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 blah," you would get cancelled. You'd lose your job. On what's coming out in the news now, what is the right answer now? It's completely 180 on what it was 2 years ago because there's no second place in AI. They're going to fight the war over AI because the smartest person wins. You might as well be the smartest person because that's a good starting place for winning. And they're going to slug it out over AI. And that means large amounts of energy. That means, stress means gold and silver, and AI means copper and aluminium, which is going right now. Yeah, it's a completely different world. And the commodities, the periodic table is now in fashion. And anything to do with building server farms and keeping them cool and keeping them powered and keeping them going is going to go through the roof. And in fact, SoftBank just sold its Nvidia so it could invest in the superstructure behind AI. There it all is. It's all there in the news. It's right there, front and center. Building nuclear power stations, AI, boiling the oceans. It's all there. And that's because China's got it, America's got it, Europe's already lost the battle. And those two guys are going to fight to be the smartest guys on the block. Because when it comes to push comes to shove, it's not just being muscly, it's the smartest guy that's going to win.
I've been
That's where we
given
are.
this information. 92% of the growth of the economy this year in the US was driven by data centers and the construction of data centers and the hyperscalers. Now, I wonder how much of this because GDP is just output. So they were generating output through construction and investment. So that counts as GDP. But how much of that actually is productive output? That's what I'm trying to wonder. And I don't have the answer to that. We have to look into that some more. Time will tell.
Okay, I can help you there. I
Yeah.
can help you there. Watch people walking down the street. They'll be walking down the street like this. Zombie walking. Social media. Wonder what happened to productivity. Yeah, it went straight down the plug hole with Facebook and Meta. Yeah. Well, ChatGPT boost productivity by a factor of 5 in my calculations. So your productivity is going to go through the roof. When I was a kid, the only thing they talked about in economics or on the news was productivity went up or didn't go up. Yeah. Productivity is the baseline for economic growth. Productivity. Well, productivity with AI and particularly LLMs is going to go absolutely through the roof. And that's going to generate vast amounts of wealth. So we're going to go into this
Yeah.
economic boom like you've never seen. The point is, if you don't catch it, you'll be stupid and poor.
Well,
And if
what
you
I meant is
catch it, you'll be smart and rich. And that's your choice.
you're absolutely right. I agree with you. What I meant is maybe the capex that was spent by some of these tech companies, maybe they're overspending right now because this is the hype and everyone's just
David,
charging
it's
them
all
an hour.
confetti. It's all confetti. Your viewers know it. It's just confetti. It's just paper money. Light your cigarette with it. Yeah, they just print it. As long as it's got a productive use, as long as it does something that's worthy, it's not just money down the toilet. I mean, the American government, as I understand it, spends $100 million counting trees. Well, that's a waste of money. There's no more trees yesterday than there was tomorrow, but they're counting them at $100 million a year. But if you're spending your confetti on building the super brain that leverages up people by 500%, well, then that's money well spent, isn't it? I mean, print the confetti till you're blue in the face. If that means that everyone's going around digging up rare earths and digging up copper and building service centers and building nuclear power stations to make everybody 5 times smarter and more productive, that's money well spent. It's only confetti. If you're wasting that confetti, you make inflation and everybody starves, right? But if you're actually using it for something worthy that's actually got a return on investment, I mean, it's massive. That's what happened in the Industrial Revolution. They invented a blooming steam engine and the world changed. Well, they've invented not artificial muscle, they've invented artificial brain. And the world's changing right now, right in front of your face. Don't miss it.
Speaking of money going down the toilet, this is what happened. We had a multi-billion-dollar wipeout in the crypto market, as you're aware, a couple of weeks ago, and the crypto market wiped out nearly $20 billion in leveraged positions in a matter of hours, with the overall market reportedly losing $500 billion over a weekend. This was November. This was yesterday, but we're talking about a few days ago. There was a big unwind. It was mostly in the altcoin space, but Bitcoin, as you know, was falling from 120 all the way down to 100 in the last month. What happened to the crypto space? Do we have any insight?
Yeah. Look, the golden rule is in markets is that leverage kills. Okay. And leverage is the way that institutions pump your money into their pockets. Yeah. They give you enough and then they blow your stops and they shut your positions and their money went from your account to their account. And all that happened was a number changed on the screen. Yeah. It's a trap. Leverage is a trap. Would you like some leverage with that? Oh, I could give you 200. That's the way that the scammers drive your money in your account into their pockets. Since the beginning of time, right? It's the oldest trick in the book and people fall for it over and over again. Yeah. The more leverage you have, the quicker you're going to go bust, the quicker you're going to lose your shirt because volatility coupled with leverage kills. And of course, everyone goes, oh, yeah, oh, look, I made some. Oh, I'm gone. Right. It's the oldest trick in the book. Leverage kills. Anybody offering a lot of leverage is a scammer. They're offering it to you. So the money in your account goes into their account. Right. And goodbye. Oh, your stop loss. Would you like a stop loss with that? Would you like some leverage with that? Oh, look, the volatility knocked you out. Your money's gone now. It's gone from your account into mine. Goodbye.
Let's take accountability for our own actions now. If I get leverage, if I margin up, that's on me. That's not the exchange scamming, Clem.
Of course it is.
That's my decision to take excessive risk.
I've got puppies in my car, little boy.
Listen. We listen to this particular quote. This is from Anthony Georgiades, founder and GP at Innovating Capital. Unlike past collapses, the market's recovery was fast, with Bitcoin and Ethereum rebounding within days, he notes. That suggests that the underlying infrastructure, including custodians, clearing systems, and institutional liquidity providers has become more resilient than in previous cycles. Do you agree with that statement?
Blah blah blah. Would you like a stop loss with that and some leverage? Oh, you would. Come inside. It's like the poker school that has a big banner over the top saying beginners welcome.
Right. So you're against leverage of any kind. One could argue the crypto market is leverage in itself
You've
against the
got to be
stock market.
incredibly careful with leverage. You've got to be incredibly careful. If you're doing more than say 100%, you are pushing your luck pretty hard, and particularly in a volatile
Yeah. Well,
instrument like
what about
Bitcoin.
all those? What about all those people becoming millionaires overnight? They used leverage. Was their
Yeah, and
argument
then
right? You gotta,
6 weeks later, they become zero overnight. Up like a rocket, down like a rock. Yeah, I mean, the world's full of people that make a fortune in the markets on leverage and then lose it all. It's getting to keep it. That's the trick.
When do you, as an investor, decide to take profits? At what point do you think? I've heard stories just from people I know. Oh, you're up 60%. Oh, I think it's going to go up a bit more. And then over the next 72 hours, it gets wiped out. He loses all his gains and then some more. And it was just painful because he could have just walked out with 60% gains had he not been greedy.
That's all thinking about it wrong, right? Look, first of all, you got to look down the other end of the telescope. Yeah, there's always another bus coming. There's always another bus coming. Oh, should I get off the bus now? I lost it. Oh, another profit I didn't make. Oh, should I get back in? Should I get out? There's always another bus coming. Oh, I'm starting to feel uneasy about my profits here. Goodbye, goodbye. Wait for the next bus. Oh, there's a new bus. I get on the bus. Oh, I've made 30%. Get off the bus. Who cares what you miss? It's the next one. There's always another one coming. I mean, people that they buy at 10, it goes to 100. Yeah, they make 10 times the money. Oh, they're a genius. It goes down to 60 and they say, oh, I lost all that money. I had 100 and now I've only got 60. Now you bought a 20 and now you got 60. Oh, but I had 100. I mean, that'll get you every time, and you'll never be happy. No, you got in a 20, you got out of 60, you tripled your money. Goodbye. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Where's the next bus? Oh, there's another bus coming. There's always another bus coming. Get out when you're uncomfortable. When you can't sleep, get out. When you're not confident on what happens next, get out. Wait for the next bus. There's always another bus coming.
I remember in 2021 at the market peak at the time, nobody knew at the time when it was going to peak, but everyone was, well, some people were starting to talk about a crypto winter. They were warning about it. Those people turned out to be correct. I remember asking a lot of bullish people about the crypto sector, is a crypto winter coming? They said, no, this time's different. 2017, they were drawing, back then 2017 was a previous bull cycle. They were saying it's not like 2017, more institutional investors are in the space now. That narrative didn't work because institutional investors could sell, right? What a revelation. And they did.
It was me.
But
I was saying that. Like, you can go back and look at me writing about it in full back then. It was
that's
me.
right. It
Yeah.
was you. You were one of them. What is going on now? Are we entering a new crypto winter? Or is this or is Bitcoin going to rocket much higher if we have geopolitical tensions escalate, like gold?
I would say that there's, for every one chance of it going to 150, there's three chances of it going to 60. Yeah, it's all a probability. Look, somebody presses the wrong button and boom, something bad happens. Up it will go. You can't predict the unpredictable, but if nothing changes, if everything carries on going as it's going, it's going to go. Boop. Should have gone 6 months ago, but it didn't because of all the troubles in the market. But I think why would you short Bitcoin? That would be stupid, right? But why would you be long Bitcoin? That would be pretty dumb too, right? There's all these other things you could have. You could be in long aluminium. You could have bought platinum at 900 when I said on your show, and now it's 1400. Yeah, but there's another bus. There's another bus coming. It's an asset. It's not a religion.
Which bus are you tracking now then?
Well, I'm actually the one that I'm tracking, and I'm way too early on it, is copper. Way too early on it. And
you're not early. It's up a lot all
oh,
year.
nowhere near what
Oh
it's
yeah.
going to be. Nowhere
Okay.
near. And I'm tracking, electrical networks like National Grid in the UK, but that might be a mistake too. The point is, you watch these things, and when they start to behave like you think they should, then you can jump in. You don't have to go, I think this is going up, I'm going to buy it. You go, I think this will go up, and these are the reasons. And then suddenly when it starts to go up, you jump on it. You don't have to be right now. You can be right later. Aluminium's interesting because I would say that's going to come after copper, but it's already scratching itself now and it's already going. But that might be because of all the tariffs. Anything commodity, anything hard commodities is going to be a thing. It's going to be a glory to behold. And it's a question of being in the right place at the right time and the right way of getting at it. Now, I'm not a mad equities guy when it comes to miners because there are a bunch of interesting individuals running those places and all sorts of monkey business going on. So you have to be very, very, very careful what big miner you buy. But there's one way to get into it. I like ETFs because they're unleveraged and you can always leverage them up if you really feel mad with your broker if you really want to. But the periodic table is back in fashion because that's the basis of the pyramid of value that has been kicked out by China. They've taken away a large chunk of the value chain and left the West high and dry with its high value stuff that needs the cheap stuff underneath it. And now they're having that rugged. So the answer to supply of your rare earths, for example, is to pay a lot more for them. If you pay a lot more for rare earths, there won't be any shortage. If you pay a lot more for copper, there'll probably be a lot more copper around. So that's what capitalism does. It pushes the prices up to get supply. Well, there's not enough supply of copper. There's probably going to be reasonable amounts of supply of aluminium, but there's just not enough copper. So the price of copper will have to jump so that everybody's melting down their pots and pans to supply it. That's the way that capitalism works. And that's what will happen. The price of these commodities, I mean, it's synonymous that a commodity is something of low price, right? Well, they're going to have to go up, and everybody can afford to pay more for their copper because they're so used to paying low prices for champagne. As somebody in a mine told me recently, he said everybody's got so used to getting champagne and caviar at the price of fish and chips that they're not quite sure what to do now. Well, the answer is they're going to have to pay more, but it's not a big deal. These things are very low prices for very large amounts. So they will reprice, and in that repricing, anybody that's there before they reprice will do really well.
Okay, let's move on. We need to talk about this proposal, $2,000 dividend funded by tariffs that Trump is proposing. Last time he had stimulus checks, crypto went through the roof. People started gambling. Now, I've heard several theories. We'll talk about this itself, and then we can talk about why or what could happen to the markets, if anything, if this were to pass. It's not passed yet, but Trump has proposed basically he wants to give most Americans, especially on the lower income brackets, a $2,000 payment funded from tariffs that he defended what's become one of his administration's signature policies. Now, people didn't like tariffs as a policy, but the government did collect a lot of revenues from tariffs. And now they're going to use that, and he's proposing $2,000 dividends. I don't know if this is capitalist or socialist. You're going to tax people more through tariffs, which in itself is a tax when you think about it, and then you're going to use that money and give it back to the poor.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. It's very Peronist. Peron, that's the kind of thing they would do. It's a very populist move. I love it. I mean, I'm going to make so much money because of it. I mean, anybody with gold should be laughing all the way to the bank. Well, maybe not the bank, but laughing anyway, because it's quite inflationary. It's probably going to add 2 or 3% to the rate of inflation, which will push the dollar down, which obviously American government wants because that will help imports. It will mean interest rates won't necessarily fall so far. So you push the dollar down, it will push inflation up. It will obviously get a lot of political support because people will go, he just gave me 2 grand. I love that man. So, obviously that's a very highly political move. But I mean, it's very easily to be the high road to economic hell. But, I've given up underestimating Mr. Trump or President Trump because he does some pretty amazing things. And, why not? No one's tried it before. It's only a matter of there's old pilots and bold pilots, but no old bold pilots. So if anybody can pull this sort of thing off, it would be him. But of course, it might not be a $2,000 check. It might be a tax credit. It might be, $1,600. It might be in 4 pieces. It might be all sorts of things that a $2,000 check isn't. But, giving money to the bottom of the economic pyramid goes straight into inflation. And it will. But you could say, well, no one's going to really notice 2% more inflation because the tariff move is actually deflationary, and it might just cancel that out. So, we're heading for 0% inflation because of tariffs. Even though prices go up, money supply hasn't gone up. So it's all about money supply. Yeah. So if money supply goes up and they hand out this money at that part of the economic level, that will be inflationary and it will cause 2 or 3% inflation, but spread that over a couple of years, and most people probably will go, I didn't really notice that. Or, oh, rhubarb, 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 why didn't I get the money? It's not fair.
Last time this happened, like I mentioned, people used the stimulus money. A lot of people use this to invest in the markets. Retail investor platforms like Robinhood blew up during that time.
Didn't
I've
go
heard
up.
that.
It haven't gone up today. Didn't go up yesterday. That's the first thing I checked. I thought, well, if this is real, Robin Hood should have gone
Well,
up ten
yeah, but
percent, but it hasn't.
the stimulus hasn't. Yeah, well, it hasn't been given out yet. So we'll see what happens if it's given out, and then what will people do with it? Is my question to you, because I've heard the argument from some of my friends who said, well, this time could be different. People could gamble on other things, right? I'm not condoning this, but they could gamble. They can go to the casino. They can go online. They can go to, sports betting is popular. It's more popular now than it was a couple of years ago. It's easier to do now.
Sure,
So
sure.
there's other avenues where people can get their fix besides crypto. So what do you think?
Well, I think you should just watch Robin Hood's price, and if it doesn't move, it means it's not coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you remember, for everybody in the White House, they know 10 people that know 10 people that know 10 people. And before you know it, everybody but you knows what's really going to happen. And that 10 people by 10 people by 10 people, that's 1,000 people, and they've all got brokerage accounts. So it, you expect them all to go, oh, he's going to give $2,000 out to everybody under the age of 25. They're going to go straight to Robinhood. I'll buy some Robinhood then. But that it isn't in the price. It hasn't moved the price. So that tends to put a question mark over whether it's going to be a thing or not. That's how I read it, because the market doesn't think about today. It thinks about a year ahead, or certainly several months ahead. So if there was a high probability that a load of 21-year-olds who would dash straight to Robinhood would put that in their Robinhood account, you would get Robinhood moving right now. And it hasn't done it. Having said that, I haven't looked in the last 4 hours, but if it starts to run in the next 3 days, then you would imagine that somebody has made a decision that might impact on that. So I always think the thing to think about is the market is not thinking about today or tomorrow or the news that came out. Is thinking about uh, normally about a year out, right? So what happens today is what's going to happen in a year's time. But with these things that come out of the blue, how much this is out of the blue is another question. That would come into the price well in advance of it actually happening. So you watch Robinhood, and if it suddenly goes, you'll know that $2,000 stimmy is coming.
This reminds me, you can now bet, well, not now, but it's been trending, but you can bet directly on events instead of going through a proxy like Robinhood to see if it's happening. You can just bet on the event itself. What do you think of betting markets, Polymarket, Kalshi, and Polymarket's predictions? Well, people making predictions on Polymarket have called every single election, mayoral, federal, you name it. It's been more accurate than polls by a wide margin. Some people even say it's influential. Yes.
I did a Substack on this issue. Okay. And what you have to realize is that there are certain kinds of games. There's negative sum games, positive sum games, and zero sum games. Now, if Polymarket is a zero sum game or negative sum game, which it probably is, you can't win. That's simple as that. You can't win. You can play, but you'll lose. Yeah. You'll lose your commissions, or you just don't have the right information. It's gambling, and gambling loses money. Staking is different, right? The casino stakes, you gamble. The odds for you are a negative sum, and therefore you lose all your money. For the casino, it's a positive sum game, so they win all their money. So you have to decide what kind of game you're playing. As I say, I wrote a Substack about it a few weeks ago, and I would say that the poly market structure is a negative sum game. But if it tickles your fancy, you don't mind paying to play. You don't mind, losing money is the same as just paying an entry fee, right? If you don't mind paying an entry fee, paying for the pleasure of playing, you're fine. But if you want to make money, you probably won't. Not in
How
the
do
long
you
term.
wait? How do you lose money if, let's say, you're betting on, let's say you bet it on Trump, and towards the end, most people started betting on Trump. The odds were in your favor. You would have made less. Your payout would have been less, but you still made some, right?
Well, the
Clem?
odds are set by people who are prepared to take the other side, right? And so
Sure.
you're like saying that the people that lose are utter losers, and you're a complete winner, and you've got the odds are in your favor because you're so smart. Well, doesn't tend to work out like that. And then you've got the cost of playing. which you have to take off of the money coming in. So you've got two sides. The pot is 100, and maybe they take, a dollar for you to for their costs. So you got 99. So 100 went in and 99 came out. Well, if you play that kind of game, in the long term, you're going to lose unless you've got an edge. And what's your edge? You read the news like everybody else, right? Unless, of course, you just happen to be, a mate of a mate who's a mate of a mate who happens to know. And that's illegal.
There seems to be, I'll finish off on this note, there seems to be a shift in attitude in the UK towards stablecoins and cryptos. You would know more about this than I would. Let me just read this article here, published yesterday. Britain's financial watchdogs have been on a crypto journey with a little help from Donald Trump. The Bank of England publishes its long-awaited rules for stablecoin Monday. Stablecoins are not robust and, as currently organized, do not meet the standards we expect of safe money in the financial system. Bailey, central bank's Governor Andrew Bailey told a City of London audience in 2023. And now he's saying it's a fabulous opportunity. Why the shift in just 2 years in the UK?
Well, I don't know. They would sound pretty ridiculous to say anything else. But I got to tell you, the British Treasury, who are really the people that run the country, you might think the politicians do it, or you might think the mandarins, but it's the Treasury that runs Britain. They absolutely hate stablecoins. They hate crypto with a vengeance. And they might say one thing, but they'll be doing another. You can be sure of that.
Why do they hate stablecoins? I mean, wouldn't they issue their own?
Private sector money. Come on, figure it out.
Okay, but
private sector money is private sector money. Come on. I'm in the public sector. I've got two monopolies, violence and money. I'm not going to let either of them go, am I? Ever.
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm not quite understanding what you're saying. That the private sector money is not
Crypto
managed by the
private
Treasury.
sector money.
Right? Okay.
Public sector is public sector. They run the show.
Sure.
And they've got
Yeah.
two monopolies. Two monopolies, violence and money. So they're not
Yes.
going to give up any of them, are they?
Yeah, I understand.
That's how they run everything. Violence and money. If you don't pay the
Oh.
money, they take your stuff away, right? So that's their two monopolies. That's how they actually make everything work. That's what they need to do what they do, right? So they're not going to give up they're not going to have private sector policing and private sector violence, and they're not going to have private sector money if they can avoid it. And they've been trying to
I see what
avoid
you
it for long enough, and they will continue to try to avoid it, and they will probably succeed.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Well, yeah. That does kind of make sense until they
Private
start
sector
investing
money.
in.
Look, crypto, David, is private sector money. Yeah?
Until they start
It's like having a private army, but in money. You're not going to allow to have a private army, are you? They'd come around and they'd lock you up. Why would they let you have private sector money? Oh, whoops. So they let it happen before they noticed. And now they've got to put the genie back in the bottle. And that's kind of difficult. But they're managed, don't you worry. They've managed to keep it kind of in the bottle in the UK. But saying one thing and doing another, well, that's their stock in trade, isn't it?
See, I think deregulating cryptos would make their government agenda more easier to enforce if they're heading towards more. I'm not saying they will, but let's suppose they want more control. Some may argue even more authoritarian control. Well, having all your transactions tracked in a ledger will make it a lot easier to know who's been doing what naughty things, wouldn't it? And
Well,
you can
not
make
if you don't own the ledger. Not if the ledger belongs to some bloke that's not in your country, that's not in your jurisdiction, that maybe wants to buy a football club, and rather than talk to you, who just says, no, 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 no. Yeah. What have you got then? You got nothing, have you? And you can't do your own one because they can't do programmable money and have the North Koreans destroy the whole economy, right? So private sector money is private sector. There's been private sector monies before, but throughout history, and every time it gets too spicy and too interesting, the governments come in and say, we'll do that. But they can't do that with crypto because they can't risk the problem of having a programmable money that somebody can come along and mess with. And so they can't have programmable money, so they can't have crypto. But they can't let their money supply go. That's what they do. That's what the Bank of England does. It controls the money supply. You can't have this rando private sector money sloshing about, can you?
Do you think that the government can ever confiscate cold wallets?
Well, there's no such thing as a cold wallet for a start. It's only
it's
degrees of temperature.
It's a physical hard drive that you store your crypto keys on, and the argument here is that it's your own keys. You can custody your own wallet. Yeah, but what do the government mandates me to give up my
governments have
wallet.
seized vast quantities of crypto over the last few years. I don't know how many billions of dollars the American government has seized, but it's many, many, many. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if they come around and hang you upside down by your toes, they'll get your wallet all right.
You can't really completely escape what the government wants to
Why
do
would you
unless
want
you.
to? If you want to go live in an anarchy, move to Africa.
Well, that's,
See how that
that's what I'm
suits you.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's just that there's some people in the crypto sphere who argue that this is the way to go to protect your own wealth. But you're not fully protected if the government really wants to take your money anyway.
Well, it's not the
I don't know.
government that's
I'm
the
not a lawyer.
worry. It's not the government that's the worry. It's the North Korean government that's the worry. They're the ones that take your crypto off you, and they're doing it every day. How many billions have they stolen this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
mean, it's like they just show up and you click the wrong link, it's gone, isn't it? It's
Well,
not the government coming around taking it.
I get it, but I'm not Bybit. I don't have billions and billions of cryptos to be hacked. So I'm not that concerned about the North Koreans. But I understand how some other people might be.
Well, I tell you what, if you hang around enough, they'll come visiting.
Yeah.
I mean, I must have, people don't believe this, but I must have at least once a week somebody trying to steal my crypto that I don't have anymore because I sold it all.
How do you
Yeah.
know someone's trying? Wait. How do you know someone's trying to steal your crypto? Has it been
Well, how
stolen?
many how many Nigerian princes do you have to meet? How
Oh,
many attempts to send you a file that you don't want do you have to have? How many people saying there's an emergency fund transfer you've got to make that doesn't come from your company do you have to receive? How many phishing emails do you have to get to know that someone's trying to phish you? I mean, how many of your viewers don't get one of them every week?
yeah.
Not many.
That's true. Don't answer emails and send files to people you don't know. That's a good rule to
People
have.
trying all day long on LinkedIn. How would you like a job interview?
Open
And
files.
and
Yeah.
and we're click. It's all day long.
Clem, this was a great talk. Thank you. Let's end it here. We can continue next time. Where can we learn from you? Where can we follow you?
Well, look, I just started a YouTube channel because I'm ranting and raving like this on there. So if you want to have a laugh, come over. And I started a Substack because, people seem to want to read my words. And I've been writing for fools for 25 years. So I just thought I would go Substack too. So anybody who wants to hear me ranting in the way that I've been ranting to you this evening, they can come over to Substack and, Clem is here, Substack, or, Clem Chambers Alpha on YouTube and get to hear all my latest and greatest. And, I've been on your show people should look at the stuff we've been doing over the last few months. I mean, we've been calling it like a good one. Now, how much money would these people have made if they had listened to us? Loads, right?
You've been right on the Bitcoin call. It was just astounding to me that basically how right you've been, and a lot of people in the crypto space were kind of hoping it would rise a bit more than it has, but it's flat on the year. So we're
You look
not
so
losing
pained,
money.
David. You look
We're
so
not
pained. What
we're
about
not
platinum?
losing
What about
platinum,
gold? What about
platinum,
palladium?
gold,
What
yeah,
about
gold
Intel and platinum
AI,
and
yeah,
palladium
yeah,
and copper and Intel?
and Zeke. We haven't talked about this, but Zcash went up tenfold in the last couple of weeks. But we can talk about this next time. This is something interesting that was brought to my attention this week. You see, October was trading at
Yeah.
70. So there are some things in the crypto space that are moving, but overall, the narrative is that altcoins feel really dead. Anyway, we'll follow up next time and talk more about this. Clem, thank you very much. Don't forget to follow Clem. Link down below.
Thanks very much, David. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you.